Songs from your favourite musicals. Encore Radio.
It's 50 years since Hair was first performed, and we're celebrating by seeing the 50th anniversary show here in the Vaults in Waterloo. Paul Nicholas, you were in the original production in the UK, weren't you?
I was in 1968.
Yeah.
Is that 50 years? Not quite 50 years, is it?
Not quite 50 years. You
It's
get away with
49,
it. Right? You're 49.
Yes, oh.
You're younger
So much
than the
younger,
show.
thank you.
Yeah.
I'll remove the stoop.
But I mean, what does it mean to you as a show?
Well, for me, it was the beginning of something that I have continued to do for the last 49, 50 years, which is musical theatre. Because after this, I went into Jesus Christ Superstar and many other shows. So for me, it was the beginning of finding out really what I wanted to do, which was that combination of music and drama to some extent.
Yeah.
And that's sort of what I've done. So for me, it was a life-changing experience.
A lot of people have said that. We were talking to Elaine Page. She talked about that experience, Patti Boulay and so on. Because it was a bit of groundbreaking in the sense it came at the end of that 60s, swinging 60s change in society.
Yeah.
1967, it was the launch of What Radio 1, partial decriminalisation of homosexuality.
Well, you know a lot about it.
All of this went on in that year. Well, I was born the year before, so, so I've caught up on
child.
it. Yeah. But I mean, it was a different show. It's one of the first big rock musicals, and led the way for things like Jesus Christ Superstar.
Yeah, well, I think up until that point, first of all, the Lord Chamberlain, who controlled a thing called the Theatre Act, was abolished the day before we opened because of the nudity and because there was a certain amount of expletives in this show. And so from that point of view, it was growing. And as you say, it was the first really, it was called the rock musical because it was using contemporary music of the time. It wasn't a kind of a Rodgers and Hammerstein show with a big band in the pit.
Yeah.
The band were visible, it was a rock band. And of course the music has stood the test of time. And several of the songs became hits in their own right. Which was a little bit unusual at that time. And, people still sing some of these songs today.
Which led on to, and I just, because we play on Encore Radio, we play Hair, the original production with you. We've also got Jesus Christ Superstar, you doing Gethsemane and all those sorts of things. And of course, it led to that thing that Andrew Lloyd Webber and Tim Rice did, which was releasing the album of the show and having hits from it, which is a different thing completely.
Well, I think that was, prior to that was Tommy, but Tommy wasn't a show at that point. Tommy was, I suppose, in a sense, the first kind of rock opera. But the first rock opera that was staged, of course, was, as you say, Jesus Christ Superstar. So I think shows like this, the fact that they were young shows, they were music of the time, probably helped to encourage people like Lloyd Webber and Tim Rice to write that kind of show. And as you say, it was done as an album originally, and then it was put on by Robert Stigwood. And I was lucky enough to audition. I had about 6 auditions. It became a kind of mini X Factor, except it wasn't on TV, where they were looking for Jesus, and luckily enough I got the part. Yeah. But it was really because of Hair that I even got in the front door for the audition. Having played in Hair, people would see me and I was able to get an audition and have done it ever since, really.
So one last quick question. Does it mean anything to people today? Is there a message from it for today?
Well, I think there is. I mean, the fact that the Vietnam War was raging as when we were playing, and it's a very anti-war show, I think that feeling remains. The fact that it's about peace and love and being kind and decent to each other. The fact that there's no censorship, which I think is fantastic. So all those values, all those things still remain relevant today. And what I'm interested in is the setting of this show, which looks very interesting, and I can't wait to see it.
Yeah, Paul, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Songs from your favourite musicals.
Encore Radio.